Oh my gosh, I'm here with Lauren F. Collins.
Are we shooting?
We're rolling.
And you just spat on me, but whatever.
I'm waiting for an apology.
Hey.
Hi.
I remember when we used to do this when we lived together?
Yeah, we lived together.
We'd cuddle.
You just totally ruined my first trivia question for you. I was going to say, which Degrassi cast member did you live with in real life?
Okay.
Do you know what a ship is?
Yes.
I just learned about it. Does that
Well,
surprise you?
you're behind the times.
Okay.
Because
Well,
I've been shipping.
You've been shipping all over this city,
I've
haven't
been
you?
shipping
Ship to the left, ship to the right.
Parco. Is that a thing?
Shipping, I was going to ask you, what's our ship?
Parco.
Parco. Interesting.
Is that a good one? Or
Then there's Mage.
Mage?
Mage is kind of like an old lady's name. It could
Mage
be
is
weird.
silly.
Major Parco.
Major Parco. That's a good one.
Okay, so about Major Parco. Isn't it bizarre that the last time fans saw Parco together, there's a big slap, our friendship is over,
Yeah.
and then Marco hangs up on you and we're never to be heard from again. How do you feel about that?
In one of the other 47 interviews that I've done today talking about the show, I said that they were like, what's your favorite moment? What's your favorite moment? And I was like, I'll tell you my least favorite moment. My least favorite moment is that this amazing friendship that lasted so many years is just like
Gone.
left totally,
I know. And it's kind of
It's
crazy
sad.
because all
It's
the
sad
fans
to me.
tweet and they're like, what about Parco? What about Mage? You know?
No one has ever tweeted that. Ever.
What about
No one
Mage?
has said the
Hashtag save
name.
Mage.
No, but really, we do get a lot of fans being like, what
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
to Marco and me?
And it's like,
And you're like,
I don't know. So in real life, of course, I asked you to slap me for real. Remember that? I said, slap me for real.
oh my God,
Because
I did it
I was like,
many
slap me
times.
for real because I don't want you to be pulled out of the moment. Like,
Which I really appreciated.
yeah,
You're a
because then
really
you would
good
have been like,
actor.
oh no, right? So it's just like, hit me. Well,
But
she
what-
hit me
what they-
so many times. It's not your fault.
And what everyone doesn't know is that then we had to go home together.
Yes,
that
'cause we
night
lived together
and live
and
in the same
She
apartment.
felt so guilty. I swear to God, you were like a second away from rubbing my feet. and,
But
like,
you were
putting me to
also like,
bed.
you were a little bit like, okay, we've spent a lot of time together today. I'm gonna just go to my room.
I think it's because I was like,
You were like secretly really mad at me.
no, I wasn't mad.
Or you had to go like
I was
cry.
like secretly there to ice my face and cry in the fetal position because it like really hurt.
God, I got to slap you. I got to slap Paige, Spinner.
Freudian.
Time Paige. Where are we? What's happening?
You once played Paige. Okay, I actually want to talk about Paige.
Okay, but wait,
like,
none of this is going to be usable because, like, what are we talking
this
about?
is all usable.
Okay.
I loved Paige, and as a matter of fact, I picked her as my favorite character in another interview.
You did?
I did. I think Paige is hysterical and like a perfect bitch when she needed to be. The original queen bee.
I find that really heartwarming.
It's true.
I really do. Just made
So-
me a little, like,
So
check
here's
that.
here's the thing about Paige. The original queen bee.
Yep.
She ate Heather Sinclair for breakfast.
Every day.
Held her. What was Paige's? What's her Achilles? Like, what was her weak spots?
That's a really hard question.
It's a good one. I'm not screwing around.
I mean, Manny.
Manny was a serious weak spot.
Manny was her, like, ultimate
Mhm.
weak spot. I think she really felt threatened by her.
Yeah.
She was younger. She was hotter. She was, I don't know, a better Spirit Squad member.
She was younger. She was hotter.
She had better hair extensions. I don't know.
Guys showed up to prom in the same dress, and her leg/foot wasn't broken.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely a thorn in Paige's side.
I don't know why, because Paige was like such a queen bee in that. Like, why out of
She
all
was
these
confident, but
characters,
isn't that always the case with the queen bees, with the mean girls?
It's so true.
They're so insecure.
And it's just, it was because between Manny and Paige, I think you guys both those characters had something to prove, and they really wanted to hurt each other. Do you guys ever? But you befriend each other. At some point.
Eventually? I don't remember.
There's this sweet scene in the bathroom of when of the Kevin Smith wine.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was the same episode.
And there's a sweet
where we
scene
finally
where
like
he's
reach out
you know,
to each other a bit.
The girls went out for laxatives. I wouldn't have a drink tonight if I were you. And Manny says that, and you went, "Thanks for the tip."
Literally, I thought you were just joking.
No,
But that's totally
actually
the
what
line.
happened. And I only know that because I watched an episode recently.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and
It's
I
a
thought
really
that's
funny
a sweet
line.
gesture.
It's also
Okay,
a really funny line.
What's your favorite moment between Parko / Mage?
Oh, come here. Come here.
Are you gonna do something to me?
Yeah. Just put your head down.
Oh, keep your phones on. Always on.
No, do you remember the scene where we're sitting at the table? I mean, my favorite moment of you is the first scene that you were ever in where you were doing the worm in yellow mod robes.
And K-Swiss bunny shoes, those big
Like-
bunny shoes. Do you know the first time I ever saw you in life? It is forever in my, like implanted, like, no, it is imprinted in my brain. Implanted, maybe. Because I was so nervous. I was just on a show and I was like, you know, like a fetus. And I was walking down the hall and you were rehearsing with Phil Earnshaw. And you said, all you said was like, I haven't seen clothes that bad, something, since Heather Sinclair's sock hop. And I just remember you in like full like hair and makeup, but like with like a zip up hoodie.
Because I was
Like-
probably shooting or something,
Yeah, you were
but like
just
wearing
in
my
rehearsal.
own clothes.
Yeah, she
Really?
was fierce.
Really?
Yeah, I thought so. I was a
love
little bit
that.
scared of you at the beginning because we weren't friends at the beginning.
We weren't. Oh my God, Adamo, what I could tell about our friendship to these viewers. No, I was thinking I hope you don't mind me saying this.
Please do so.
Like, how cool that I remember the moment that Marco came out to me, and I remember the moment that Adamo came out to me.
That was so lovely.
Because
Can
that
you
was,
believe that?
it's crazy.
Because we knew each other when we were 15.
I know.
What did I say to you? I don't remember.
We had just done a photo shoot for a magazine in Toronto, and we just sort of started like bonding a lot on set.
Was that the iWeekly one?
Yeah.
In Kensington Market?
Yeah.
At a weed shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was very odd.
It was bizarre.
And we went to the Second Cup on College Street,
We did. Oh, I remember.
and you told me, you mentioned your friend that you often spoke of,
My special friend.
his special friend, and then you sort of looked down and looked
Oh,
at me, and
it's 'cause
you
I
were
had
like-
this.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna say that. You had a wristband that had his initial on it.
We won't say what
And
the
you were like,
initial
yeah,
is.
it's for person, he who shall not be named. And then you like looked down, and then you looked at me, and then you were like, because you know he's my boyfriend. And I was like, heart swell. Here's my gay best friend I always wanted.
Glitter exploded. The marching band came in. That is so lovely, and I actually remember that. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah,
That was a
it was a
sweet
good
moment.
moment.
That was the beginning.
The beginning.
The beginning of our love. So, of course, we had like our big scenes that went there. So, you know, Paige gets date raped. All I kept thinking is like I rewatched it at that moment recently. And all I kept thinking like you were a kid.
I know, it's crazy.
Like what like
I was
don't
like
know,
15 years old.
What, did your mom explain it to you? Like did you know what was happening?
I do, yeah. I mean, I think I'd always been kind of like a precocious child. And, you know, I was watching a lot of like TV that was probably too mature for me at a really young age. So I definitely knew what was going on. What I don't think I realized is the impact that the episode would have to viewers. And I think that was a good thing, because I think that would have been really frightening and
Oh, I see.
really scary to think about.
That like all suddenly you're gonna represent an issue.
I think what was weird for me about shooting that was I was 15 years old. I was a virgin. I was, you know, in this scene with a really hot older guy that I had to, you know, make out with in front of all these people that were watching. My parents were going to see it. My parents were going to want to talk to me about sex now.
Oh, no.
Like, it was those pressures that were going
did
through my
they?
brain. God.
Like did your mom talk to you about it? Because I would imagine.
No, I remember my dad was on set.
Oh,
He wasn't like there in the room while we were shooting, but it was definitely like required that one of like my chaperones be there. And I sort of felt bad for him. I'm like, imagine having to watch your daughter, you know, cope with that or deal with that. Yeah, it was heavy. We were young. Most young actors don't get the opportunity to deal with this kind of like meaty material.
And you know, it's kind of funny, right? Because it's our naivete that we needed to make those believable.
Yeah.
You know, like here's the thing: you were a virgin, Paige was a virgin.
Yeah.
You know, and that was important. But I also think like with Marco, I mean, you were 15.
Yeah,
so
no, I know.
It's so good.
It's
Like,
fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
Like Marco getting, you know, gay bashed in the park. I remember that messed with me for a really long time after.
I can't even imagine.
I was just really afraid of people, and I was afraid of the city. Like I was just like, there was just weird things. I just never thought that like my being different would equate such violence.
Wow.
Because I just never thought that was a thing. I didn't
It's
know
very
about.
heady.
And I guess I'm quite blessed that I wasn't dealt that in real life.
Right, thank God.
But it wasn't until I got older that I was like, oh my God, that really scared me. That bothered me for a
Yeah.
while. And then I could have only imagined if it happened for real. You know, so then, you know, it's kind of like we really rose to that occasion. And you're right, I don't think we knew what responsibility we had until it was
No.
over.
And I think that was
until
actually
young people
such-
say, this happened to me.
Yeah.
And you're like, really? This is not fiction.
And I think, you know, another thing to be said for that is when someone is, God forbid, raped, or they're on a date and they're date raped, they haven't dealt with it before. They don't know. They don't know what they're getting into. So that was another, like, the innocence that we brought to that.
Yeah. Well, it is the innocence. It's the innocence of making those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of walking through a dark park or, you know, going upstairs with a strange guy.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens because no one has that, you know, wherewithal at that point.
Mhm,
when
or
you're
the
15.
foresight.
Mm-hmm. Heavy stuff. All right, trivia question. What was it, Krista?
It is the Jimmy dance.
Okay. In the 80s dance,
Yep.
who did Aubrey Drake Graham dress up as?
Michael Jackson.
Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna
I can
give
tell you who everyone dressed up as.
Please do so.
Aubrey was Michael Jackson. Shane was MC Hammer. I was Madonna. Andrea.
The first episode I was in, I just short circuited. The first episode I was in with you, you're dressed up as Madonna. Isn't that wonderful?
Wow. It's weird
What
how
a
things come full
gift.
circle.
Continue.
Andrea was Tina Turner. Cassie was Molly Ringwald. Miriam was.
I know what it is.
Cyndi Lauper. Damn it. Who else was in the dance?
Shane?
Shane already said MC Hammer.
No.
Christy. Yep.
He wasn't MC Hammer.
Yes, he was.
No.
Yes, he was.
No. Vanilla
was he?
Ice.
It was an 80s dance, not a 90s dance.
Damn.
Just because he's white.
Wow.
Chrissy was Pat
Annihilated.
Benatar, and Melissa was Susie from Susie and the Banshees.
I didn't know this.
Because I am
Oh.
a crazy person.
Who was Mr. Simpson?
Oh, and Jake was.
Yeah, it was Jake. I know both of these.
Wait, I know this. Jake was the guy from the Sex Pistols.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
Sid Vicious.
Damn it. Fill in the blank. 2 blanks.
Fun.
I'm not blank. I'm blank. It's like maybe my most famous line.
I'm not blank, I'm blank. I'm not Paige. I'm not blank. It can't be. Your most famous line is New Year, New Look, New Paige. Who are you
Fair.
kidding?
This is second.
Okay, I'm not
I'm not mean. I'm right.
That was your line?
Yeah.
Oh God, Paige was such a bitch.
She's such a bitch.
I'm not mean, I'm right. Oh God. Oh God, I'm just like reevaluating our character's entire friendship.
That was early days. That was like
Do you
season
have
2.
you have any final words there? Some final thoughts there, Jerry Springer?
This has been a weird, wonderful day.
Yeah.
Really just like going deep back into our history. I feel like I need to go to therapy now.
Do you feel old? I'm feeling a bit old today.
That's your favorite thing to say. Your catchphrase is, I'm too old for this. If you could like go back and do like one thing different.
On the show?
Yeah. Not even like as your character.
Like as an actor on the show?
Yeah. Like I think if I could go back, like I would have been like a little less. I would have had more fun.
More fun. We were very responsible.
We were very responsible. We were very well behaved.
Oh, so well behaved. So I guess if I could go back, I would.
I mean, I had so much fun.
I guess if I could go back, I guess I don't know. I don't think I would change anything.
Yeah.
There was really nothing that I regret. I had like the best time of my life. Whatever it takes.
That was fun.
I'm not mean.
I'm right. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Day has been brain busted.
Don't worry, they're not.
No, these are fun. This is just going to be about like our past, our future. You have launched yourself into like contemporary Degrassi. You're working at the Dot. Spinner comes and works at the Dot. Is that weird?
Well, thing is, I do, in some of my spare time, I've been known to do a little restaurant work myself. So it's funny to get, to go, hey, I'm doing a cameo on Degrassi, and then go back, okay, could you just throw on your apron, please? I'm like, yeah, sure, this feels comfortable.
Well, I was thinking the other day when we had all first met. I mean, I had met you guys in 2002. You had met Lauren, and no, I guess it was just been.
Lauren,
the season
Jake,
one
Jake
cast.
came in, Jake, Stacy, and you came in season 2. I was there with Lauren.
So we would have known each other now for like well over a decade.
Oh yeah, we're a decade and a half.
And the
getting
thing I
close.
always feel a little bit jealous about is that I was never a part of season 1. Naturally, it's like I just feel like I missed it. What happened in season 1? Is there something like I really missed?
It was all set up for Marco's entrance.
That's
really.
what I'm saying. I'm really jealous I wasn't
Yeah,
there.
I know, but you just know that you were in mind. Everything that we did was
Thank
laying
you.
the groundwork
Thank
for
you.
Marco's
I
character
really
and story
appreciate
arc.
that you felt my spirit.
Hey, you know what, buddy?
You were there for
You
me.
were in our mind long before we were on yours.
So do you remember what our first scene was? Well, it wasn't together, but do you remember when you first like saw Marco? What did I have to do?
Was
really
it just
stupid.
love at first sight?
It was. And I was doing something really silly.
Oh, were you dancing?
I had to
Were-
like break dance so that I could win tickets to
Yes,
something.
yes,
and I
yes.
beat you and Wheelchair Jimmy.
Oh,
but he wasn't in a wheelchair.
Was it? And it was hosted by Mad Dog and Billy, was
Yeah,
it not?
Mad Dog and Billy.
Yeah, and I was wearing that
Which were
like,
like-
acid wash.
Yeah, because
like,
it was the 80s dance.
Yeah.
So
that's-
you were Vanilla Ice.
Yes.
Aubrey was Michael Jackson.
Was he Michael Jackson?
Yes, he was.
He
had,
played
like,
Michael Jackson a
that
couple
little-
times on the
yeah,
show.
he did. He
you
killed
know?
it because
Yeah.
he could do the moonwalk.
Yeah.
Question about Wheelchair Jimmy. How do you feel being personally responsible for that?
You know what? I think he's doing all right, so I don't care anymore. You know what?
Like
I'm
Spinner
over it.
is responsible for why Wheelchair Jimmy exists.
Yes, but out of that came Drake, and I don't think anyone feels that he got the short end of any stick.
Except the fact that he was in a wheelchair for the rest of the series.
He got to sit down.
Oh my god.
He got to sit. No, okay. If we're being honest, no, I don't feel. No. No.
It was a part
being
joke
responsible
question,
for it.
too.
No. And we got the joke part out. Now let's get serious for a second. I do. I'm responsible for it, but it's almost like I would always have to correct people. They would be like, so like, how do you, like, you got your best friend shot, you got Jimmy's shot. I'm like, no, but like I indirectly, like I set off
Yeah.
a chain of events. Like, no, but this is the guy that shot Jimmy. I'm like, no, but I didn't
so
actually.
people think
pull
that like you're the one who shot Jimmy because like you didn't.
Yeah, I know,
That
but-
was Rick.
Right, that was Rick, but
Yeah.
it was so like it's so long ago, and like you know how you can distort the own
Yeah.
facts in your
You were
mind,
just the one
use
that
your-
punked. Oh, Spinner punks Rick.
Well, Jay and Spinner
Spinner.
set up the
Yeah.
like the
Jay was
tar
a
and
very bad
feathering.
influence on Spinner.
Very bad,
Very
and
bad.
in those days, yes. And then we saw Rick in the bathroom after Paige talked him down, and I don't remember all these details. In an earlier interview today, I was reminded of a lot of these. So if you're very impressed with my
I am very
memory,
impressed because I have no memory other than you are
It's
responsible
me
for
remembering
Wheelchair
what
Jimmy.
I had just been forced to remember like an hour ago. So that's really
Perfect. I
good.
got you at the perfect time.
Yes, sir.
The Scoozy.
Woo!
So, like, so many things happened to Spinner.
Yes.
You're like a really fantastic character, dude, because you had so many diverse things.
We're
Like,
just
I'm really
trying to-
grateful for my character, and I had a lot of like challenges, but it was kind of within the same concept. you know, you had this whole shooting situation, the challenge of playing that. You had the challenge of dating, like playing a boyfriend of a girl who gets sexually assaulted and raped. And you also had the cancer storyline, which to me I thought was like such a cool storyline for you to get at that point in Spinner's like legacy. Because usually at that point the characters start to taper off, but yours kind of had this incredible resurgence that you killed that episode. And you got nominated for Gemini. What was the experience of that? When you got that script and you're like, what was your thought and how did you prep for that?
Well, first of all, thank you for all
You're
the
welcome.
compliments. So I remember I knew there was something big on the horizon because I was called into Linda Schuyler's office
Called into mom's office.
Yeah,
Shit's going down.
Pre-read through, and I had heard stories of this before. It's like, oh yes, I met with Linda and she told me I have something really big, or I met with Linda and she told me I'm off the show. And so I'm like, oh, this could either be really good or really bad. But I knew, like I had heard rumors there was a big storyline coming up, so I knew when I had to meet with Linda first that she was just going to be prepping me for it and letting me know exactly what to expect. And she told me, and I was very grateful that I was the character that they picked, that they gave that opportunity to. And then she also said, and you're gonna have to shave your head. Shave my head? Like, yeah. There's gonna be a scene like where you're gonna, like, you know that you're gonna have to go through chemo and you're gonna have to shave your head. Are you willing to do that? And I'm like, be like Natalie Portman and V for Vendetta? Yeah. So yeah, no, I was really excited. There were a couple moments where I'm like, oh man, do I really have the balls? Like I've never seen my head shaved before.
Choice of words.
Oh. No, but I didn't know if I had like a birthmark in the shape of Russia, like on the back of my head.
It's like the Degrassi Panther mascot.
Yeah, it's like, how did it? He was born for this show, but I didn't know. So that was the most nerve-wracking part. But then I remember after I shaved my head, I got so many compliments on how I looked with a shaved head, and I realized then that means so much more than complimenting a hairstyle, because hair comes and goes, styles change, and day to day they change. You can't. When someone compliments the shape of your skull,
You're like,
that's
killed
that's
it.
genetic.
That's when you thank your mom.
That's when you
you
thank
say,
your
Mom,
mom.
you did a great job.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Which is
How was that final scene when you actually had to buzz it? Because that's a one-take wonder situation there, you know? It's like you're not going again.
And I remember they let the cameras go because they wanted to see how close, they just wanted to extend it and like really get it at every different angle. And I remember I started going back so far that I think her name was Josie, our hairdresser at that point, was like sitting by the monitors going like, because they had to turn it
to the left.
No, they had to do it. They had to make sure that it was okay for a mohawk at the end, so I couldn't. But apparently, I was going back. But when I went around back, I was going too far to the center, and I almost ruined what would have been the back of the mohawk. So I remember she told me later that she was like, "Don't get cut." I can't say that. But yeah, no. So that was a lot of fun, and yeah, no. The storyline itself, like the prep, I did more prep for that episode than anything else.
Well, it was like your biggest. Man.
Yeah.
That was like a huge opportunity for you.
Yeah.
You know, and you, like I said, you really nailed it.
Well, thanks. I wanted to do it justice. It was a very, very serious storyline. So I didn't want to just half-ass it. And I watched videos of people who had been through testicular cancer and what like their initial reaction and then at the period where they became okay with it, how they felt, what the pain was like, and then I did a lot of research on like the symptoms and what you're supposed to feel, because I wanted it to be pay as much of an homage to like the truth of it and to not just have it be like a campy Hollywood version of it. So.
Okay, another quick question that I just really need to know about, because I just still don't know if I buy it. Do we buy Spinner marrying Emma? Do we buy
I'm glad
it?
someone asked.
Let's just tell the truth now. Listen, they're not always winners on the show. I'm not sure if I fully ever bought that.
Okay, so I need to give credit. it's hard for me to tear it apart because it was my swan song episode,
Yes.
right? Like I can't say like, oh, the way that they ended Spinner's legacy or like, you know, preserved him was not really realistic or true to anything that happened before. I remember everyone's reaction at the read through.
Was
just
it like, what?
But they've never, like they don't, there was never anything over 9 years. But I still think that Spinner should have ended up with Jane. He should, yeah, okay, so she
Not
screwed
Paige.
someone for a little while, but you know, maybe they could have come to an agreement that then he was allowed to have threesomes whenever he wanted.
Well, because I was talking to Paula and she was saying, you know, I was pissed for Jane because like I'd been there through all of this drama, all of his health scare, been through the whole time, and he goes ahead and marries Emma. Well, way to go.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, but it was
Fair.
actually, when you think of it, that scene where Spinner was in the tent before he went out for the wedding, and Jane comes in, and they have that last little nice moment where they kind of there's some closure to the breakup, and then she's like, "Go out there, get married, get married." If she would have come in and said like, "Spinner, I'm really sorry," and apologized, I still think there might have been hope for them.
Yeah.
Maybe not that day, but like as soon as Spinner realized that Emma was not the one.
Serious rebound. Well, maybe that's happened out in the universe again.
Right.
Maybe
But
Jane and
it's really-
Spinner
but
are
it's
together.
Jane's fault. She gave up. She drove back from New York all the way back.
He's pissed. He's still
And she
pissed.
gave up. She gave up
Still
right in
pissed.
front of it. She gave 99.9%. Had she given 100, maybe.
All right, Spinner trivia. What was the? This is gonna be easy. You're gonna kill it. You're good at this stuff. What is the name of Spinner? What was the name of Spinner's half sister? No. What was the name of Spinner's adopted sister?
Kendra.
Killed it.
How many girlfriends did Spinner have on the show?
Jesus, you were such a man whore.
Yeah.
How many Spinners have? Okay,
And there might
you
be a
dated
trick.
Manny. You dated Paige. You dated Darcy. You dated. Rocket. That's 3. How many are left?
2. Should be so easy for you, man.
Emma, you married one.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jane.
There you go.
I am awesome.
No.
Honestly, dude, I'm just like so awesome to see you. It seems so bizarre when
You
when
too,
we got
buddy.
called
I
to
know.
set today.
Surreal. Yeah,
They were like
just-
me and Adamo and Shane to set, just like old times.
Yeah, and then Lauren Collins and Stacey Farr were hanging out in the
I know, I'm
back
gonna
with
hang
Jake
out with them
Epstein.
soon, yeah.
What's going on here?
I don't know. Maybe they're all just gonna, it's just like old times. Although I haven't gotten rid of Stacey and Lauren.
Yeah, I know.
They're still on, like. Just,
I got rid of all of them.
yeah.
Man, let me
Lucky
tell you.
It's been a good life.
Oh, but,
All right, peace. We're gonna go hang.
all right.
We realized actually we're very similar.
Yeah, I mean we're just 2 Italian girls trying to make it, trying to just make it by. Bring cats. How's it going?
Are you filming?
We are now.
We are rolling.
So tell me, how does it feel to be back and just to see everybody again?
I think it's like, I don't know if you feel it. I feel like a little old today.
Wow, interesting.
Like
I
I,
have
saw
been feeling that
Aislinn and I
recently.
was like, I felt like a old aunt. Like I was like, hello. Like why was I talking that? I like bent down also to greet her. Hello. What am I gonna do that for? I'm not joking. It's excited.
But you're also like an old aunt by spirit.
You're doing this. You're like, because then you take people into your bosom and just
Yeah,
let
like
them
right
rest you. I'm
here
like,
is where
"Come
I feel
on."
your soul sits. Like I feel like at 4 you were an old aunt.
Just
Yeah.
sit there. Yes,
Yeah.
I was. So now it's just I can embrace it more. But
Well, I was feeling old, so Luke said to me, he was just like, yeah, because your character came out in like 2008.
oh my
And I was
god.
like, try 2002.
Yeah, I was like
feeling old today.
2008. Yeah, that does make me feel like you're older
Yeah.
than me.
Yeah, I am.
But it's
you
been
know.
like, it's been nice. It was really nice sitting on the couch with Shaney boy.
Yeah, how's Shane? How was
so
it hanging
good.
out with
I
him?
heard that he said in his interview before I came in the room, not prompted, that his favorite girlfriend on the show was Jane. So I was feeling like pretty puffed up.
And I bet you, because after, he goes ahead and marries Emma,
I mean, honestly,
weren't you upset about that?
yes, I was. I thought it was strange because I understand that Jane cheated. I really do. But I
people
don't
make
buy.
mistakes.
People make errors. I didn't even think you should take her back, but I did not buy that suddenly you could erase the years and the cancer
Yeah.
and the loss of testicle. And
'Cause-
I'm not saying this lightly. This is what they've been through.
Yeah. And you were there.
Yes, and the shooting,
Yeah.
and the dad, and the football.
Oh,
I'm talking like they
jeez.
went through it, and then to just get married to someone else, I thought, I just don't buy it. I mean,
It's just,
Because you were there pre and post everything.
he needed to mourn it. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Spinner couldn't move on.
Yeah.
I just think, and we talk a lot about relationships. There's something to mourning the loss of a.
Do you
love.
think do you think Spinner jumped and married Emma because he like still really loved you and just couldn't deal with the fact that, you know?
No, I think Spinner has like this unique quality to find love in a lot of people. That's why he's had some like big iconic relationships on the show. I actually
he's
think
had quite many.
many and long term. Like he's a serial dater. And he wants comfort and he wants ease. He wants the picket fence a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think Emma could give that to him at that time and Jane couldn't.
Well, I feel like someone like Spinner needs to be taken care of a little bit.
Totally.
You know?
He said
I think
that too.
Jane's
Jane's
good.
got it.
She's good.
Mama's got it.
Yeah, she
You
reminds
know?
me a lot about you. Mama's got it.
Mama's got it. Well, now I've become more like Jen. At the time, I was like, oh my god, this girl's cray. She's so good at everything, and she's dealing with it, and she's doing the singing, and she's got the football. She's the valedictorian for Christ's
Okay.
sakes. I couldn't do that.
I have to tell you because of football. Knowing you, like we were just talking about how we went camping this weekend, and
No,
you were like, you did a good job because leading up to it, you're like, oh, I don't know if I can camp. Had you ever
To
played?
be clear, we went to a cottage. Camping implies pitching a tent,
Oh,
and that
okay,
wouldn't
you're
have
right.
been.
So we went to the
There was a
cottage.
home constructed
so-
that we got to rest in.
So my question then is, after going to the cottage with you and you were skeptical about that experience, had you ever played football before
Exactly.
Jane hit the field on camera?
Hit the field.
You know, hit
Great
that
questions.
field.
Well, first of all, I think I excelled at the cottage just as an aside. The
I think-
key
I
bringing
think you did.
sangria and water into the kayak and letting your pal kind of do the work for you.
I mean, that is Princess Rihanna treatment. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that was a great memory for me. The football, the training itself, not so much.
So, like, did you train before?
Yes, I did. The 5 days leading up to
What
it,
do you
I did.
mean?
Because,
So, like, did you like to learn the rules?
well, I...
Also, again, two Italian girls talking about football right now. Continue.
Like, we both don't know anything.
Yeah.
Because the table reads, I was explaining this earlier, table reads for Degrassi are like no other. You don't know what's coming next. You're surprised just like the audience would be. So you're reading it out loud and you go, oh my god, she's on the football team. I guess it's going to be a storyline about how bad she is. No, in fact, it's her, the MVP on the
She's-
male team. Oh! And everyone's like...
She excels.
She excels. And then the thing is,
guys.
and there's like a sort of talk back after, and they're like, everyone looks at you and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, goody. And my chest is beet red. And I walk out and I call my dad immediately. I'm like, Dad, Big T, we got to get to the park and pronto. We have 5 days before
But
we go
does
to
your
camp.
dad know to play football?
I mean, he's an Italian male.
Yeah, he
who's
could
played
do a little bit
basketball.
of everything,
He's a jack
yeah,
of all
yeah.
trades,
Yeah.
that one. And he said, Paula, he gets into like, Brent Caddies, like it's all about the last name. Like, Brent Caddies can do it. No, they can't, Dad. I used to skip track and field day, but you are Brent Caddy, you can. So God bless you and thank you for joining me on this journey. Take me to the park. I
love
can't
Papa
even
P.
run. I can't even pick up my damn knees. That's how little, I don't even know how to run. Like I got called into another show I did called Dark Oracle to look at dailies and they said, there's a problem with your performance. I said, what? I'm not kidding you.
What could it possibly be?
I thought, oh my God, it's my face, it's my acting. And they said, your running is so poor that the network just said, we need to have one of the other actors chase you around so you can learn to run with urgency. And I was chased around the entire afternoon. So think about that. Think about that complex.
Do you think they paid that actor a little extra overtime just to chase
It
you?
was favored nations, babe. I mean, it was just
Oh,
was what it
God.
was. So then you
You're
got
killing
that,
me.
and then I'm reading the storyline. And I go, how in God's name is
So
this
did you-
going to transpire? So my dad helped me with the running.
Do you feel like you pulled it off on the day?
Well, I did it with the help of an entire football team that helped me train, and Tony
And an
Brancati
editor.
helped me do. Yeah, it was edited together beautifully. I had a wonderful stunt double who did the wide shots. I couldn't even run to save my life. I did all the close-ups. I was very adamant about performing it all.
Of course, because the emotion and the intent is still there. It's just the physical
Like,
aspect was challenging.
At the end of the day, I could totally get the fire of like being told you can't do something because you're a girl. The storyline and the spirit
Well,
of it,
that was, yeah.
crazy, crazy relatable. But yes, I worried that I wouldn't be able to pull it off. In fact, that ended up being something. It was the thing I'm the most
But it
proud
was
of.
quite,
really.
yeah, it was great.
Oh, and,
It-
and
it-
Eleanor
it
Linda
looks
was so
believable.
good. She directed it, and we watched Friday Night Lights. She gave me Friday Night
Oh,
Lights for
great
the
show.
weekend and said,
Great
you have to
show.
watch all of it front to back.
Keep
And I
in
said,
mind.
how do we have time? No, Saracen. I'm more Saracen than a Riggins.
Saracen was.
So like,
It's because you loved that he loved his grandmother.
exactly the nonna thing.
Yeah,
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Taylor Kitsch, I saw him in California. I was outside a hotel, and all of a sudden, this guy pulls up on a motorcycle and takes off his helmet and throws his hair, and I was like, please. You know what I mean? Like,
Please.
come on.
You're
that
like,
can't be real.
darling, sit down.
And right
but
when
it
I was about to, like, kind of really say that, like, wow, I turned and I was like, Taylor Kitsch, and I was like, Miss Scoozy.
Miss Scoozy.
Well, what a little twist in my little
puppy.
vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you went Italian and I started doing some other things.
Well, I spent the whole time going up to the rooftop pool in that hotel, like perfectly put together.
He was staying at your hotel.
Yeah, well,
I
I,
also-
didn't see him
I heard-
again, so he was probably visiting someone.
Do you know he
really
also like
beautiful.
builds things? I heard that.
Like
that
what?
Like homes, like his own home and shit like
well,
that.
that's what he does in Friday Night Lights. He says, "My dream," and
I
he pops the beer.
know.
Says, "I want to." Spoiler alert.
I know I was gonna say a way to end the entire show. For
Okay,
everyone.
we digress.
Final frame.
So Jane, because you had mentioned for a second there that you like crazy relatable about Jane excelling in a predominantly male sport,
Mm-hmm.
naturally, in a really kind of alpha male sport.
Yeah.
And she kicked ass. And then what happens? Like there's some repercussions there.
Yeah, she was the MVP also on the male team. I think that happened later. But there were a couple of guys, though she was not warmly received by anyone really, a couple really were awful to her, like just incredibly threatened. Mark Donato's character was
Yeah.
like antagonizing her, and then he kind of spearheaded this movement to beat her up. Like she did well at a practice, and
I just can't get my head around that. Why
It
would
was-
a group of guys
it was really
want to beat up a girl?
it was kind of gross. It sort of happened in this sort of like the principal says to her in this scene in the locker room, like, do you know what just happened out there? Like it's a really great short scene where basically she's just been beat up and she's explaining to them like, this just happened, what are you gonna do about it? And he says, well, boys will be boys, and if you want to be one of ours, no special treatment. And it's such a,
So, yeah, what do you think the show was trying to say about that kind of mentality?
I think it's not that it was ahead of its time, because that's a statement that we've heard for years. I think women have heard that in many incarnations, in every walk of life and every job. I think it's really of right now. Certainly in this city, I feel like in Toronto, it's a really exciting time to be a woman in charge or sort of speaking your voice. I feel very supported here, but I think Jane was sort of like kind of ahead of her time, speaking up
Yeah.
and still choosing to be on the team. I mean, very,
Because
very
even
brave.
after that happened, she's like, no, I'm still doing
She
this.
stayed. Like the last frame of the
Yeah.
show is her taking a knee with them, and then a couple of the players, join her. Because I
Which
think
is like, I think, such an important moment because you can't be afraid from it, I mean, but because
Easier said than done,
no, but
yeah,
like you
you're
can
right.
actually be afraid from it because it is frightening.
Yeah.
But to say that statement, like,
she was like a feminist without, I don't even think that was her intention,
Yeah.
but she ended up being like this symbol, I think, for feminism. And it's like rare, it's like such a young character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we always see characters, 17-year-old girls on
Have that
television
strength.
having that strength. It was
Well,
really inspiring.
I was talking to this with Aislinn about, like, is there like a voice that Degrassi gives young women specifically?
I think so. I think that they've given, without even knowing it, doing those kinds of storylines gave me a voice later. Like, I always felt like Jane was very ahead of me. Like, I always felt like I couldn't keep up. I was like, oh my God, like, she really is sort of this heroine, but she's not doing it for anyone else. And I think a lot of the characters that have had challenging storylines, Aislinn's character is a great example of that too, they're sort of figuring it out in their own way. It's not always linear. Like, I think Jane's an example of someone who chose to, but some, you can't always deal with anything,
Yeah.
everything head on,
And,
right?
and also characters make mistakes.
I
People
love
make
that it's
mistakes, and she
human.
makes a mistake. She has that affair, and
I love calling an
costs
affair
her.
is so salacious, but it does cost her.
It costs her.
It cost her great love. Like,
Yeah.
and I also love that they went there. They were like, this
Yeah.
girl's been a hero, but she's very human. It was
Yeah,
sort of
like
not the
nobody's
traditional
perfect.
heroine, yeah.
Yeah.
And that she kind of is unapologetic, like it goes untalked about.
Mm-hmm.
She ends it because Holly J catches her, and the rest of the season goes by in a very sort of un-Degrassi fashion. It's not glorified or exploited. It's left sort of like, oh, I guess they're never going to touch
Yeah,
that
or
again.
it's not like, don't do this. Here's
not
the big
preachy about
lesson.
it.
It's like, this happens.
Yeah.
People make mistakes, and then I guess you see the consequences for that mistake with her and Spinner.
Yeah, and also that she was okay. It was interesting to see a character who was like, had reconciled themselves with the fact
Yeah.
that like the truth would hurt him more, and she really did love him. So like, I won't say anything.
Yeah.
And then getting caught, it's like you're too far gone, and sometimes forgiveness is impossible. So I was trying to figure this out earlier. I was talking it out, like, why did myself and the actors in Janie and the Stoods decide to rehearse on weekends? I'm not sure, because we were not really playing on it. Like, I was really singing, but we were, it was a television show, but we were like...
It was.
And we were all like, let's just get together at Ray's basement and like
Because
sing
you guys just did it on your own time.
as well. Yeah, I don't quite know what we were playing.
So like, you just had a good time on set.
We
and
love
you,
each
like,
other,
You,
yeah.
you were just like, let's
But
just
then
go
we
rehearse over the
kind of
weekend. That's lovely.
decided that we were gonna play for the rap party. Again, decided, no one asked us. It was like, we're gonna do this. And we're gonna do it, damn it, for real. And we're gonna sing all 3.5 songs that we sang on the show, and maybe a couple covers. And Aubrey had just become Drake. Like in that Best I Ever Had was like the song of the summer. It was my final season. So I thought, let's really, I don't know if that is, but go out with a bang. Deuces.
I hear that.
And I'm gone. So all the guys were like, yes, this is such a great idea. I'm like, let's do Best I Ever Had and we'll all sing it together. Like,
No.
what a beautiful.
Because I wasn't at this rap party.
I thought you were, and then I realized you
No,
weren't.
I
You
wasn't.
certainly weren't there for the set, because I think you would have remembered.
I mean, of course I would have remembered this. When you were reciting it, I was like, I have no memory. I wasn't there. 'Cause
it's best that
this
way.
was for 9, right?
This was for 9,
Yeah,
and
so
it
I
was
wasn't
the end. I
there.
was wearing an outfit from the show. Jane,
Hot.
out of her, I should have gone
Not the hair
camo.
and makeup, though.
Not Jane circa dreadlocks. It was Jane cleavage glitter top. Like
Okay.
she'd really gone through her affair, and she was trying
So
to.
how did that performance? Like, how did
Well,
it go? Did people like it? I believe that they did.
These schmucks, I was gonna say these dicks, like the guys, left me out to dry. I'm trying to come up with an analogy that really represents it, but they said they were gonna sing with me. When we got to the part like, referee, because that'd be so official. My shirt ain't got no stripes, but I'm gonna make a whistle. Nothing. Crickets. In fact, the drums drop out. Linda Schuyler's right there. Stephen Stone's right there. Everyone we know is there.
So you just essentially said
And then
in
I
front
go
of all
like,
the executive
and then I kept
producers.
going, you the f***ing bastard, and they're all gone. It's just, I know you're gonna be able to. It was, but that point, when you're already, it's like I'm already cut off at the knees at that point. Just drown yourself. Like it was over anyways. And then I just
That's when
like
you do
I'm
this.
talking. And then I said, and good night. And I also called them all out. Like I was like, thank you so much for that.
I like that you committed, though.
Yes, I'm not gonna. You know what?
did
That's
it.
what
You
life
committed.
is about. If
That
anything,
is.
this show's
You had
taught
the
us-
confidence of Jane in that scenario. You went back
Jane
down
would-
and you bowed on your knee for
I
that
said
moment.
I'm gonna just go down in flames if need
Yeah,
be,
I believe
and but also
You're
pain
my hero.
smiles in the audience.
You're my hero.
A lot of this, all the agents are like, oh yeah. It started turning into a Jane frown. Like everyone was like, you know what she does? Jane's always like, that's me who played Jane would do that, but it would be like De Niro all the time. I was saying that. Oh, it is.
This is a killer moment that I'm so heartbroken I wasn't a part of.
I'm sorry. I'm sure somebody's got it on one of those phones.
But you just made me laugh all over this couch. I've just been
glad
like
it's
chucking
not-
my
you were
body.
like-
I'm a big Italian laugher.
Me too.
Bring cats. I love you.
I
You
love
are
you,
my favorite.
Adamo.
Thank you for filling me in on all this joy and just for being my favorite Italianist.
I love you. Bendicio. Ti
Beautiful.
voglio bene.
Tanto, tanto.